Sarah gritted her teeth. I want you to pay for what you've done, but I know how powerful you are. If you step down from the hospital and admit your mistakes, I won't release the evidence. Dr. Thompson was silent for a few seconds. Then he laughed. Sarah, do you have any idea who you're talking to? He stood up slowly, walking toward her. I've buried more scandals than you can imagine, he whispered. You're just a desperate single mother. You really think you can beat me? Sarah held all her ground. I don't think, I know. Dr. Thompson tilted his head, then gave a cold chuckle. You're quite entertaining. But I'm afraid your little crusade is about to end. A chill ran down Sarah's spine. You have a young son, don't you? Dr. Thompson continued, his tone edged with menace. It would be a shame if something happened to him. Sarah clenched her fists tightly. Are you threatening me? Dr. Thompson smiled. I'm just reminding you, the world isn't fair. Sarah stared at him. She had hoped he would slip up and say something that could be used as evidence. And now he had. The recorder in her coat pocket was still running. Pressing her lips together, she turned and walked out of his office. She had what she needed. Sarah walked out of Dr. Thompson's office, her heart pounding in her chest. She couldn't believe she had just faced him without fear. Her hand tightened around the small recorder hidden in her coat pocket. Every one of Dr. Thompson's threats had been recorded. He had exposed his true face. She walked quickly down the hospital corridor, but just as she was about to leave, a hand grabbed her arm. Sarah turned and found Linda, her face tense. Are you okay? Linda asked in a low voice, as if afraid someone might hear. Sarah nodded. I got the recording. Dr. Thompson admitted everything. Linda's eyes widened. Oh my God, what do we do now? Sarah took a deep breath. We need to go public. We have to let the world know the truth. Linda hesitated. If Dr. Thompson finds out we have the recording, he won't let this go. Sarah met, her gaze steady and fierce. I don't care. My son is lying in a hospital bed, and if I don't fight, he'll get away with it just like he always has. Linda clenched her fists. Okay, I'm with you. Sarah returned home, locking every door and double-checking. Every lock. She had learned she couldn't trust anyone but herself. She powered up her laptop, opened the recording, and hit play. Dr. Thompson's voice played clearly. I've buried more scandals than you can imagine. You're just a desperate single mother. You really think you can beat me? You have a young son, don't you? It would be a shame if something happened to him. Sarah shuddered. This was exactly the evidence she needed. She scrolled through her contacts until she found a name. Lucas Garrett, the investigative journalist from the New York Sentinel. She tapped the call button. The phone rang 3 times before a deep male voice answered. Hello? Mr. Garrett, this is Sarah Mitchell. I have a story you can't ignore. There was a pause. Who are you? I'm the mother of a child who was harmed by Dr. Daniel Thompson at Mercy General Hospital. I have evidence of his crimes. Another silence, then Lucas spoke, his voice lowering. Meet me at the corner cafe at 8 p.m. tonight, and be careful. If what you're saying is true, you're going up against someone very dangerous. I understand, Sarah replied. Sarah entered the cafe, her eyes scanning the room. Victoria had come, with her to make sure she was safe. A middle-aged man wearing glasses and a gray overcoat sat in the corner. When he saw Sarah, he gave a small nod. Sarah and Victoria sat down. Lucas studied them for a moment before speaking. Tell me, what do you have? Sarah took out the recorder and pressed play. Dr. Thompson's voice came through, every word clear and sharp. Lucas listened in silence, his eyes gradually hardening. When the recording ended, he crossed his arms, deep in thought. Sarah, he said, slowly, do you realize you've just poked a very dangerous snake? Sarah nodded. I don't care, I want justice for my son. Lucas sighed. If I run this story, I'll need more. I need witnesses, medical records, anything that can hold up in court. Victoria spoke up. We have a nurse willing to testify. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Who? Linda Parker. She witnessed Dr. Thompson administering the wrong medication. Lucas nodded. Good, we need to meet with her as soon as possible. Sarah clenched her fists. Then let's get started. Linda stood by the window, her heart pounding. She had decided to help Sarah, but fear still clung to her. Suddenly her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered it. It's me. Sarah. Linda let out a breath. God, you scared me. We need to meet. I have a journalist ready to help us. Linda took a deep breath. Okay, but we have to be careful. Dr. Thompson might already suspect something. Sarah's voice was steady. We won't let him get away. Linda grabbed her coat and headed outside, her eyes scanning the street to make sure no one was watching. Sarah and Lucas were already waiting. Lucas extended his hand. Miss Parker, I'm Lucas Garrett, investigative journalist. I need you to tell me everything. Linda glanced at Sarah for a moment, then nodded. I'll tell you everything. She began, recounting it all. The way Dr. Thompson neglected his responsibilities, how he threatened everyone at the hospital, how he orchestrated cover-ups of patient deaths. Lucas took careful notes. When Linda finally stopped, he said, We can have this story on the front page by tomorrow. Sarah clenched her fists. Then he won't be able to hide anymore. Suddenly, a sharp cracking sound echoed from afar. All three of them turned their heads. In the shadows, a man dressed in black was watching them from a distance. Linda shuddered. We're being followed. Lucas frowned. We need to get out of here now. They quickly split up, each heading in a different direction. Sarah hurried toward her car, her heart pounding in her chest. She had found the truth, but her enemy knew it too. Sarah sat in her car, breathing heavily. She checked the rearview mirror, her pulse racing. The man in black was still there, his gaze locked on her from afar. She swallowed hard, trying to stay calm. She couldn't let fear stop her now. She dialed Victoria's number. Hello? Victoria, are you okay? We're being followed. Damn it. You want me to come get you? No, I'm going home. I need to check on Jake. But you need to be careful. If Dr. Thompson has someone watching me, he could be watching you too. Got it. I'll change locations tonight. Talk soon, Sarah said and hung up. She stared out the window. The man in black was still there, but he didn't move closer. He just wanted her to know he was there, a warning. But Sarah wasn't afraid. She started the engine and drove away, keeping an eye on her rearview mirror the entire time. Sarah burst into her house, rushing straight to Jake's bedside. The boy was still lying there, his breathing soft but weak. She gently touched his forehead, hot, still feverish. She bit her lip, tears welling up in her eyes. I'm going to save you, Jake, I promise. Suddenly, her phone vibrated. A text message. Enjoy the time you have left with your son. He won't be around much longer. Sarah's hands froze. She felt a cold chill spread through her entire body. Dr. Thompson had decided to act. She was running out of time. Lucas sat in front of his computer screen, editing his article. The headline read, Shocking Scandal, Dr. Daniel Thompson and the Hidden Deaths. He scrolled through the key points, testimony from Linda Parker, files from Sam Peterson, the recording of Dr. Thompson threatening Sarah. Lucas gave a thin smile. Dr. Thompson wouldn't escape this time. He hit save, preparing to send the article, but at that moment the power cut out. The screen went dark. He frowned and turned to look out the window. The entire building was black. A sense of unease crept over him. His phone vibrated. An anonymous message. You're playing a dangerous game. Don't make yourself the next victim. Lucas took a deep breath. He wasn't surprised, but it was too late to stop. He pulled out a USB drive containing the entire article and slipped it into his coat pocket. No matter what happened, this story had to be published. Dr. Thompson sat behind his desk sipping red wine. He stared at the man in front of him. I told you to handle everything cleanly, Dr. Thompson said, his voice low and dangerous. The man in black, the one who had been following. Sarah bowed his head. We've warned her, but she isn't scared. Dr. Thompson chuckled. Of course not, she's just a desperate mother. But everyone has a weakness. He rested his chin on his hand. And her weakness is her son. The man remained silent, waiting for orders. Dr. Thompson smirked. "If she doesn't back down, then give her a shock." He set his wine glass down, his gaze as cold as ice. "Take care of the boy." The man nodded. Dr. Thompson turned and left the He leaned back in his chair, his eyes gleaming with triumph. "Sarah Mitchell, you picked the wrong person to go up against." Sarah jolted awake. There was a noise. She quickly sat up, her heart pounding in her chest. The window rattled with a sharp click. Someone was trying to get inside. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her phone, frantically calling Victoria. "Hello?" Victoria answered groggily. "Victoria, there's someone outside. I think they're trying to break in." Victoria snapped awake. "Oh my God. Did you lock the doors?" "Yes, but I don't know if they can break them." "Hold on, I'll call the police." Suddenly, a loud crash rang out. The window shattered. Sarah screamed. A dark figure lunged into the room. She grabbed the knife. On the table, holding it up, ready to fight. "Stay back. I won't let you touch my son." The dark figure hesitated. The front door suddenly burst open. It was Sam Peterson. He rushed in, grabbing the intruder and slamming him to the ground. "Sarah, run!" Sam shouted. Sarah scooped Jake up in her arms and bolted out of the room. She flew down the stairs, her heart racing. Behind her, the sounds of a struggle echoed. Punches, landing, groans of pain mixing with labored breathing. Sarah didn't look back. She only knew one thing. Dr. Thompson had made his move, and she couldn't let him win. Sarah rushed down the stairs with Jake in her arms, her heart pounding wildly. She didn't dare turn around. Behind her, Sam was still locked in combat with the intruder. The sounds of fists hitting flesh, harsh breathing, and stifled cries filled the air. Sarah didn't look back. She only knew one thing. Dr. Thompson had made his move and she couldn't let him win. "Sarah, go now!" Sam shouted again. Clutching Jake tighter, she burst out of the building. The icy night wind whipped across her face, but she didn't stop. She had to get her son to safety. She fumbled with the car door, finally yanking it open and placing Jake in the back seat. Her hands shook as she buckled him in. "Jake, I'm here. I'll protect you," she whispered. The boy whimpered faintly, his eyes glazed with fever. Sarah clenched the steering wheel, starting the engine. But just as she was about to drive away, a dark figure suddenly appeared in front of the car. Dr. Thompson. He stood there, arms crossed, his gaze ice cold. Two tall men stood behind him, his personal bodyguards, no doubt. Sarah froze. Dr. Thompson smirked. "Did you really think you could run, Sarah?" She gritted her teeth, gripping the wheel. "Tighter. Get out of my way." Dr. Thompson sighed, stepping closer. "You disappoint me. I gave you the chance to leave New York City, but you chose to stand against me." Sarah trembled but didn't back down. "You're a murderer. I won't let you hurt another child." Dr. Thompson sneered. "You're so naive, Sarah. Who do you think people will believe? I'm the chief surgeon of the biggest hospital in the city, and you're just a desperate single mother willing to do anything for her son. But the world doesn't care about people like you." Sarah's grip tightened on the wheel. "Is that so? I think the public might care." She reached over and turned on the phone speaker. From the speaker came Dr. Thompson's own voice. "I've buried so many scandals already. Do you have any idea? You're just a desperate single mother. Do you really think you can beat me? You have a little boy, don't you? What a shame if something happened to him." Dr. Thompson's eyes widened. He lunged forward, trying to grab Sarah's phone, but she was faster. 1 second slower, and this entire conversation goes straight to the biggest newsrooms in New York City, Sarah shouted. Dr. Thompson froze. He knew she wasn't bluffing. His two bodyguards exchanged uneasy glances, clearly worried. Dr. Thompson took a deep breath, trying to regain his composure. "Sarah, we can make a deal. I have a lot of money." "I can help you." Sarah let out a scornful laugh. "You think money can buy everything?" Dr. Thompson shrugged. "Everyone has their price." "Then you're wrong," Sarah said, her eyes flashing with hatred. "Justice has no price." She pressed the send button. Dr. Thompson stepped back, his face pale. "You've lost, Sarah." "You're wrong." "Dr. Thompson, I've won." Lucas Garrett sat in front of the screen, his eyes carefully reviewing the article one last time. The headline had been chosen: Shocking Medical Scandal, Dr. Daniel Thompson and the Hidden Deaths. Below it were the evidence, Linda's and Sam's testimonies and the recording of Dr. Thompson. Lucas clicked post. Within minutes, the news spread at lightning speed. TV channels started reporting. Articles demanding justice for Jake and the arrest of Dr. Thompson quickly climbed to the top of the trending topics. Lucas leaned back in his chair, breathing a sigh of relief. It's begun. Mercy General Hospital plunged into chaos. Reporters gathered at the gate, cameras pointed at the main entrance. Hospital staff whispered among themselves. Patients looked at one another in confusion and fear. Dr. Thompson stood in his office, his eyes bloodshot with rage. "Get out!" he shouted at his secretary. The door burst open. 2 police officers stepped in. "Dr. Daniel Thompson," one officer said sternly, "you are under arrest for medical malpractice, manslaughter, and covering up crimes." Dr. Thompson flinched and stepped back. "You can't arrest me. I'm the chief doctor. Do you know who I am?" The officer remained unfazed. "We know exactly who you are, and now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court." Dr. Thompson screamed, struggling, but the officers held him down firmly. Hospital staff gathered around, watching the scene with mixed emotions. Some whispered to each other, some just silently observed. Linda and Emily stood at the end of the hallway. "Is he really getting arrested?" Emily whispered. Linda nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "Justice has won." Sarah sat beside Jake's bed, tightly holding her son's hand. Another doctor, Dr. Lucas Harris, walked in, smiling. "Sarah, I have good news. Jake is stable now." Sarah burst into tears. "Thank God," Dr. Harris spoke gently. "He's going to make a full recovery soon. You did it, Sarah. You saved your son." Sarah leaned down and kissed Jake on the forehead. The boy opened his eyes and smiled faintly. "Mom," Sarah beamed. "I'm here, sweetheart. It's all over now." Outside the window, the bright morning sunlight shone in. The storm had passed and justice had been served. Sarah stepped into the courtroom, holding tightly to Jake's small hand. The boy had made a full recovery, his eyes bright as he gripped his mother's hand firmly. Ahead, Dr. Thompson sat in the defendant's chair, handcuffed. His face was haggard, the neatly combed hair of days past now a disheveled mess, his complexion pale from stress. The judge banged the gavel, announcing the opening of the trial. The court is now in session for the trial of Dr. Daniel Thompson on charges of manslaughter, medical malpractice, evidence concealment, and witness intimidation. Attorney Michael Bennett stood up, his gaze sharp. He approached the jury, his voice low but powerful. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we are not just trying a doctor. We are trying a criminal who wore the mask of a healer. Dr. Thompson caused countless deaths through his negligence and then covered up the truth by threatening, bribing, and manipulating." He pointed towards Sarah. "This woman, a single mother with no money, no power, fought alone to expose his face. And thanks to her, today we can bring this man to justice." Sarah squeezed her son's hand, her eyes filled with tears, but her heart full of determination. Dr. Thompson's lawyer stood up, his voice smooth but unable to hide the tension. "Your Honor, my client is a reputable doctor who has dedicated his entire life to medicine. This case is merely an unfortunate mistake, not intentional murder." Dr. Thompson nodded along, clinging to the defense as if it were a lifeline. But Michael Bennett simply gave a cold, faint smile. The evidence was presented. Michael pressed a button on the recorder. Dr. Thompson's voice echoed throughout the courtroom. "I've buried so many scandals. Do you have any idea? You're just a desperate single mother. You think you can beat me? You have a little boy, don't you? It would be such a shame if something happened to him." The entire courtroom was stunned. Some members of the jury gaped while murmurs of outrage rippled through the crowd. Dr. Thompson's face turned pale. Michael turned to him, his voice sharp as steel. "Are these the words of a dedicated doctor, Mr. Thompson?" Dr. Thompson opened his mouth, but no words came out. Linda stepped up to the witness stand, took a deep breath, and said, "I worked with Dr. Thompson for over 10 years. I've seen him make many mistakes, but Jake's case was the last straw. He administered the wrong medication, and instead of trying to save the boy, he covered up his crime." The jury listened to every word, their faces showing clear outrage. Next was Emily. He cleared his throat, his voice filled with anger. "I've witnessed far too many children die at Dr. Thompson's hands, but every time, the hospital covered it up, and he was free to continue his work like nothing happened." Finally, Sam stood up. "I'm a former nurse at Mercy General Hospital. I left because I couldn't stand the corruption in the system, and Dr. Thompson was at the center of that corruption." Dr. Thompson clenched his fists, his face straining with tension. He knew he had lost. The judge looked directly at Dr. Thompson. "Does the defendant have anything to say before the court announces the verdict?" Dr. Thompson glanced around, his eyes frantic. I was just doing my job." "I didn't mean to." Sarah laughed scornfully. "You didn't mean to? Then who threatened me? Who sent people to attack my home?" Sweat dripped down Dr. Thompson's face as he stammered. I don't know. But no one believed him anymore. The judge brought down the gavel. The jury has deliberated and reached a verdict. The entire courtroom held its breath. The defendant, Dr. Daniel Thompson, is sentenced to life imprisonment for manslaughter, medical malpractice, and witness intimidation. The courtroom erupted. Some clapped, some cried, and others sighed in relief. Sarah hugged Jake tightly, tears falling onto her son's cheek. At last, justice had prevailed. Linda ran over and hugged Sarah tightly. "We did it." Sarah smiled brightly. "It's thanks to all of you." Emily patted Sam on the shoulder. "You took a big risk, Sam." Sam chuckled. "For the first time in years. For the first time in years, I feel like I did the right thing." Lucas stepped forward, his eyes full of pride. "Your story changed this entire healthcare system." Sarah looked at her son's bright smile. She knew she hadn't just saved her own child. She had saved countless other children from Dr. Thompson's cruel hands. 1 year later, Sarah stood in front of a new office building. The sign above the door read, "Jake, Foundation Patient Rights Protection Organization." She stepped inside where dozens of mothers like her were sitting waiting for help. Victoria came over and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it, Sarah." Sarah smiled, looking up at a small photo of Jake hanging on the wall. "No, we did it." Sunlight flooded through the window. A new beginning, a new life, and justice had finally been served. Sarah's story is proof of the power of perseverance, courage, and justice. Despite the threats, she did not bow to those in power, but fought to the end to protect her son and expose the truth. The greatest lesson from this story is never to stay silent in the face of injustice, because one person brave enough to stand up can change an entire system. At the same time, it highlights the importance of ethics in the medical field, where human life must always be the top priority, never to be manipulated by power or money. If you enjoyed this story, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to keep bringing heartwarming stories almost every day. We are very grateful for your support. See you soon.